Rockingham County news and information. Mike Moore Media.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the March edition of At Home with ADTS, a monthly show where we discuss topics that we think are of interest to older adults, adults with disabilities, and family caregivers, as well as highlighting some of the services and supports offered through ADTS. I'm Cathy Powers, the Executive Director here at ADTS, and my co-host, as always, is Asheley Cooper, our Director of Adult Day Services. ADTS has been operating in Rockingham County since 1973, and our goal is to enhance the quality of life for the people of Rockingham County, empowering them to achieve optimum health, well-being, independence, and participation in our community. We do this through 8 core programs that serve around 17,000 people annually. But we don't do this alone. As federal and state funding remains stagnant and the needs continue to grow, we rely very heavily on our community for support. So we like to start every show by thanking those businesses that have helped us through the Community Partners Program to meet the ever-growing needs. Thank you, as always, to Pelham Transportation, Carolina Apothecary, Wells Fargo, Home Trust Bank, CJ Medical, Sparks Oil, the Rockingham County Community Foundation, the Rockingham County Arts Council, Colonial Funeral Home, the Episcopal Church of the Epiphany, JDK Automotive, Wilkerson Funeral Home, Annie Penn Hospital, Eden Rotary, BB&T, Reedsville Rotary, Woodmont United Methodist Church, and Plaza Mini Storage. Thank you all for your continued support. We also want to give a special thank you to the United Way of Rockingham County for their long-time and generous support of our Meals on Wheels program. United Way of Rockingham County brings together local people to raise local dollars to meet local needs. And we thank everyone that contributes to the annual campaign. If you haven't already, please do so. Now I'm going to turn the program over to Asheley, who's going to introduce today's guest.
Thank you, Cathy. Today we have Ayeshan Parker, who is the Healthy Carolinians Coordinator for the Rockingham County Department of Health and Human Services. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at the Health Department?
Sure. I am Ayeshan Parker, the Healthy Carolinians Coordinator for the Rockingham County Division of Public Health. My role there is to facilitate the community health assessment. Now, I have worked in Rockingham County for over 4 years. I have a background in prevention, so I'm excited to be at the Health Department.
Sure. Wonderful. So, Healthy Carolinian Coordinator, what exactly does that entail?
So with the Healthy Carolinians Coordinator, I do have a couple of job responsibilities, but one of my main roles is to facilitate the community health assessment process. And with the community health assessment, it is a comprehensive document that we work collaboratively with United Way of Rockingham, Annie Penn Hospital, and UNC Rockingham Healthcare to conduct the document or produce the document. And the community health assessment pretty much lets the community know the health needs, the resources, and the health status of the county.
And so this isn't something that you guys are all just sitting in an office going, you know, we think people are obese and we think there's a high incidence of diabetes. You guys are actually getting out in the community, laying eyes on the different neighborhoods and gathering the information, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Yes. So with the community health assessment process, there are 8 phases to the process, and we actually have to get data. So we have to get the primary data first, and the primary data, we do door-to-door surveys, and we also do focus groups to collect that primary data. Once we collect the primary data, we then move towards the secondary data. And with the secondary data, we do get the data from credible sources, so we could use that in the report.
Okay. So you mentioned focus groups. Can you tell us a little bit about what happens during those focus groups?
Sure.
And who attends?
Sure. So with the focus groups, we already kind of have it mapped out of the different populations that we want to conduct the focus groups for. For an example, we have a veterans focus group, we have unemployed focus group, a homeless focus group, and we go to those different areas. We conduct the questions. This year we had about 16 questions for the focus group. They last between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the dialogue that we have. And the focus groups, with them already being laid out, we just pretty much just go get our contact person. We conduct the focus group, we bring the data back, and we just compile it all together.
Well, it's nice to hear that you actually really do try to get the comprehensive data from a lot of different viewpoints throughout the community.
So once the data's been collected, then what? Is there any report back to the people, or what does that look like?
Sure. So once we gather all the data, write the report, we actually have a community forum. And with that community forum, we have stakeholders, community members, and others who would like to come to the forum just to hear what the health status is of the county. And we pretty much present the data or present the findings to the county, and we just answer any questions if we have any at the time.
Are those pretty well attended?
They are. I believe the last one, it was in 2016, but there was a lot of people to show up.
That's
so
great.
It's very well received.
That's great.
So you said that the community health assessment is every 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and this year is it an on year or an off year?
So with the assessment process, it takes us about 2 years to actually complete the document.
Okay.
So since we conducted our last community health assessment in 2016, we're actually in the midst now of getting data for the 2020 community health assessment.
Okay.
So in the in-between years that we do not do the community health assessment, that's when we get the state of the county health report published, and I'll go more into detail about that.
And that's the SOCH report?
Yep, also known as
Okay.
the SOCH report.
So if someone hears you out in public and you're talking about the SOCH report, it's the state of the county health
That's
report.
correct.
Gotcha.
So what are some of the current health concerns and priorities that y'all are trying to address?
So for the last 4 years, we've been working on 3 top priorities. Now, the priorities are identified by stakeholders in the county. We have a top 3, and the 3 that we've been working on for the past couple years are physical activity and nutrition, access to health care, and social determinants of health with an emphasis on education.
Okay.
I can see why those are very relevant in Rockingham County, and most places, I would assume.
Right.
Yes.
So, well, and it's what we see through a lot of our programs as well. The activity piece through both Leaf Center and the Center for Active Retirement. We know how important activity is for older adults, but not just older adults. We see very clearly in your report here that it's across the board. So can you just tell us a little bit about the demographics of Rockingham County?
Sure. So I will speak on the demographics, the top priorities, the progress for the top priorities, emerging issues, and the new initiatives in the report. So
Okay.
here's what the report looks like, and if anyone would like a copy, they can definitely reach out to me, and I can provide my contact information at the end. So as far as demographics, in Rockingham County, there are 90,949 residents here in the county. The median income is a little bit over $40,000, and the unemployment rate has decreased. Currently, it is 4.4%. Last year, or in 2017, it was 4.8. So it shows that Rockingham County is bringing more employment opportunities here to the area.
That is good to hear.
And yeah.
And what is the leading cause of death in Rockingham County?
Well, the leading cause of death is lower chronic respiratory issues, but with Rockingham County, the 4th leading cause of death is diabetes.
Wow.
So we have a lot of programs geared towards diabetes here in Rockingham County. And yes, got a question?
I was just going to say that the report does a really good job of not just highlighting what the problems are, but it
Right.
goes into some pretty good detail about what we're doing locally. So
Right.
I just want to emphasize that these reports are not completed to then sit on a shelf somewhere, that these are living documents that are
Right.
constantly being looked at, and people are going back to this and saying, okay, well, what else can we do about diabetes management or identifying people when they're pre-diabetic and doing interventions then. So can you talk a little bit about physical activity specifically, what's being done in that area to address some of the concerns?
Sure can. So here are just some facts. North Carolina ranks the 20th most obese state, and 15.6% of youth ages 18 to 25 here in the state of North Carolina are either overweight or obese. So with that being said, physical activity and nutrition is definitely a need, not just in Rockingham County, but in the state as a whole. And we have pretty much different programs and services that we are providing through the health department to address this physical activity and nutrition priority. So Rockingham County Department of Public Health, we offer a evidence-based program which is developed by the CDC to help reduce the onset of type 2 diabetes here in the county, and it's the Minority Diabetes Prevention Program. And the program is definitely well received. Currently, we have 3 classes going on all at the same time. So it's a very good program
And
to
when
be
are they
involved
usually
with.
offered, like day, night, weekends?
It just depends. My class, we meet after like a church service, worship service.
okay.
We have another class that meets on Monday during like lunch. And then we have another class that meets Monday around 6.
And what is that, what are you covering in that class?
So it's many different topics like healthy eating, diet and exercise, like the proper way to shop. So it's a lot of different topics that's going through as far as the class. And the class is a 1-year program.
Oh, wow.
So the first 16 weeks, the class meets weekly. And then they start getting into like the monthly phase and they just meet once a month. But it's a year-long program.
And you're finding most people stick with that for the
They do.
duration? That's wonderful. It speaks to the quality of the program.
Definitely.
And the instructor.
Thank you.
So do you take referrals directly from physicians, or can someone call you directly if they want additional information on getting involved in one of those programs?
I think most have either been referred or they know of someone else who has currently taken the program. And then if they are a diabetic or like pre-diabetic,
Right.
they either get referrals either by their doctor or someone that they know.
So this can be for someone who has already received the diabetes diagnosis or someone who's pre-diabetic.
Well, it's the diabetes prevention.
Okay.
So we would primarily say the pre-diabetic.
Early. Gotcha. And then we've also got a diabetes task force in Rockingham County. Is that the same thing? Is that what you're doing, or is this something different?
That's different. So the task force, their mission is to improve the availability and the quality of care for diabetic residents in Rockingham County. And they meet on a quarterly basis. They're actually trying to become their own 501c3. They're nonprofit. So each year they put on an annual health fair. It's in November, and with the health fair this past year, it was held at the Reedsville YMCA. There were over 30 vendors there and over 200 community members there, so it was well received.
Yes, we always participate in that, and it seems to grow every year. It really does, absolutely. Also, so we're talking about nutrition. What are we doing about or addressing physical activity? A Be Healthy program, I've heard something about that.
Yeah, so Be Healthy, I'm glad you said that, Ashley. So actually, Be Healthy, I'm one of the co-chairs for the group, and we actually have these maps in circulation. So
I've seen those around.
Yeah,
they are around. Now, this is the older map. So we've actually updated it, but it's very similar. It's still green. It'll be more of like a lime green this year. But we're going to get that out to the county probably in the next month or so.
And what exactly does that list on there?
So
What
to
are-
Be Healthy, it gives you a lot of different places where you can have river access, farm stands, rec centers, YMCA. So it's very good, useful information. On the front of the map, you'll see pretty much the locations on the map as it would be geographically. And then on the back of the map, you'll see pretty much the content, the address, and the contact information.
Oh, wonderful.
Farmers markets, all kinds of good stuff on
I know.
there.
I love farmers markets, especially starting up with the spring this time of year.
So can we talk a little bit about social determinants of health? I know that the emphasis is on education from the SOCH report,
Yes.
but social determinants is something that we hear a lot about here recently. No matter how good someone's health is that they get from their physician or in the hospital, if they go home and don't have access to running water, or don't have food to eat, or don't have power in order to keep their insulin cool, we know that there's probably a pretty high likelihood that they're still going to get worse. They're going to have the same health condition and possibly get worse.
Right.
So that's something, people are looking at social determinants and not just the treatment, but actually what's going on in a person's life, which is kind of good to see that we're going there and understanding that that matters. So talk a
does.
little bit about, from the education perspective.
Sure. So social determinants is defined as the places where people work, live, learn, play. It can have an effect on the health risks and outcomes for that person. Now, since we are emphasizing on education, the dropout rates here have decreased. So it's down to 2.7%. So it shows that we're doing something right in the education field. Now, I do want to touch on a few different programs and services that we do have in Rockingham County. The first one is the Moss Street Partnership. So that is a very new partnership. It did begin this past school year, which was August. And the school currently has 384 students enrolled. So the school is designed to develop student skills and interest them in the STEM subjects, the science, technology, engineering, and math. So far, there's been nothing but positive feedback and positive results coming from that school. So we're excited to have them.
Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about that school so far. As well as that partnership. Gear Up, what exactly is that, and what does that involve?
Sure. Gear Up stands for Gaining Early Awareness and Readiness for Undergraduate Programs. So what they're doing is working to increase the number of low-income students who are prepared to enter and succeed in post-secondary education. So they offer a lot of different services for that program, and I'll just tell you a little bit about some of the services that they offer. So they offer homework assistance. So far this school year, they've had 975 students take advantage of that. Also, mentoring services, 143 students were involved in that. And over $12 million were awarded to graduating seniors June of last year.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. That really is.
And I know that Dawn Sharaba with the Rockingham County Education Foundation has a lot of good things going on with their organization as well.
She does.
Can you tell us anything that they're into?
I can. So their mission is to increase the college-going culture. So they have helped about 9,000 local seniors here in Rockingham County with college support. They've also invested over $140,000 into early childhood programs, and some of those programs included the STRIVE program, and STRIVE stands for Securing Tomorrow Rockingham, Invest in Valued Education. And what STRIVE they're actually doing, they're trying to promote childhood literacy.
And so you mentioned seniors, how many seniors that had helped. So for Asheley and our mind goes to older adults.
Right.
When you say seniors, so just to clarify, these are seniors in high school.
High school
Gotcha.
seniors. Yes, ma'am.
And then, of course, the final priority is access to health care.
Yes.
And we, of course, offer the transportation services for the county, and so we're involved in a lot of conversations about access and how people get to the physician and how they access food and all kinds of things. But just talk to us a little bit about what the report found as far as access to health care.
Sure. So we all know that affordability and utilization of services is very important, and also having those services available when you need them is also important. So as far as Rockingham County government, for the employees, they offer the pharmacy initiative. And with that pharmacy initiative, it offers prescriptions to be filled during the work hour for the employees there. Now, they do not take any insurance, so it's only cash only. But it definitely helps those, if something were to happen during the hours of work. Some of the medications that they offer are for diabetes, high blood pressure, allergies, and so much more. Now, some of the advantages for that initiative is low-cost medication, as I said, increased productivity, and improved employee health.
Right. So you don't have to take an entire day to go off and
Right.
and sit around waiting for a prescription to be filled.
And we also have a nurse on site.
Oh, that's
So that's
awesome.
great,
That is
too.
wonderful. Yes, absolutely.
Why don't you guys consider extending that benefit to your local nonprofits?
Yes.
I'll have a word with them.
Yes. Community partners need love too.
That's right.
So,
Absolutely.
what's so great about this report is it doesn't just highlight the individual initiatives that are going on to address those priority areas, but it looks at other things that are going on in the community as far as employment and those issues that kind of play into the overall health of our community. So can you just talk a little bit about some of the things that you found as far as like new businesses coming in and how that might impact the unemployment rate?
Sure. So as I mentioned, the employment rate has decreased, so that's a good thing. So the company, the Allbad company here in Reidsville, they created over 300 jobs, and they are the manufacturer for wet wipes and sanitary products, so we're happy to have them here.
Yes.
And also a company that's actually closing their doors in 2020, which is the ITG Brands. They've been in Reidsville for over 100 years.
Wow.
And they're relocating to Greensboro to help with regulatory costs and get those under control.
As far as new initiatives, is there anything that's coming, that's in the works that we should know about?
Sure. So there is a Rockingham County Teen Leadership Council, and they serve as a liaison between the youth of Rockingham County and their county government. They're sponsored by the Rockingham County government, and it's a service-oriented program, and it's for students entering grades 9 through 12.
Great, that's great. You know, one-on-one is much better. Or if you're having a disciplinary issue, it's nice to have that with a peer instead of who can understand what you're going through than maybe a principal or a teacher or someone like that. So that's a great initiative. And then Medicaid transportation, which is something we're very familiar with. Can you speak to that as well?
Yeah, for the Medicaid transformation, so it is a significant change for North Carolina Medicaid program in over 40 years. And so far, we just know that the Medicaid and NC Choice, they'll be mandatorily enrolled this June of 2019. So they're in the works of actually getting that started.
We were looking to you, Ayeshan, and hoping that you could give us all the answers.
I wish I had it.
We know that Medicaid transformation is going to be a significant change for the way that businesses like ours operate, but it's also going to be a change for the individuals who have Medicaid.
Right.
And the contracts have been awarded to the 4 different organizations that are going to run the managed care organizations for Medicaid. And so we know who those are, and we can start to work on those relationships and just kind of all learn together what this is going to be like, I guess.
It'll definitely be a change, but
So it seems like a lot of the initiatives that are going on in the county are focused on youth. Is that kind of where the priority is, or am I just picking up on bits and pieces of programs that are focused on the youth and the school systems?
Well, we are focusing on the youth and the school systems, but there are other programs as far as like new initiatives that we have now. We have, of course, with the community college being here, they are offering like a lot of different courses this semester or this past fall semester. So they have like a new detention officer training, natural hair care, small business seminars. So there are a whole lot of different new courses that are being offered at the college. But of course, we do want to focus on our youth because they're our next generation.
Before we know it, they're going to be taking care of us.
Right.
I mean, it happens really quickly. I think we missed the integrated health care. And that's something that's really exciting. And Lisa Ellington, I've heard her speak about it, and it sounds like they're doing some really great things. Can you just highlight that a little?
Sure, I'll speak on that, and then I'll also bring up the student health centers because that was very important too. So with the integrated health care, what they're doing, they're reducing the number of unnecessary or preventable EMS calls for chronic conditions. So they're pretty much trying to cut back on some of those EMS calls that they've been receiving for things that the integrated health care can definitely step in and help for. So during the 2017-2018 year, they've provided services for 152 citizens.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. They've contacted us, the Leaf Center, a couple of times for individuals who were just kind of falling through the cracks and some of that repetitiveness for the ER, and we were able to partner with them to get them to come to the center.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's a really great initiative, and that came about through Kate B. Reynolds.
They have.
Can you speak about that, or do you feel comfortable speaking
I know
about that?
very little. I do know that they are in a 4-year grant, and they're actually on the 3rd year. So they have one more year for that grant.
That was like Healthy Places. Or
The
something
Healthy
like
Places
that.
grant, NC. And then one more thing for them is their calls have decreased by 17%. So it shows that the work they're doing is definitely being noticed.
I see them all around the county, so I think that, again, it shows that they're really trying to invest and figure out what the resources are and how they can connect them.
I agree.
Absolutely. And then you mentioned the Student Health Center.
Yes. So with the Student Health Center, we do have them in all 4 high schools here in Rockingham County, and they're increasing the access to health care for high school students because most high school students, if they're not able to get to where they need to be, but everyone knows that, if they're in school that day and if they get sick, they can definitely see a nurse on site or myself, a health educator, because we are in the schools as well.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know.
So how often, is that by appointment, or are you just kind of floating between all the schools?
So I take 2 schools, and the other health educator, she takes the other two, and we're in the schools twice a month.
Okay.
Yeah, we see both schools twice a month. So normally it's like every other week. And we do pretty much one-on-one counseling with the students. So anything they come in with the question for, we definitely assist. Now, they are on a schedule, so we actually have them scheduled, so we'll kind of already know who we're seeing and kind of know what they have a question about.
And is there a charge for that service or the nursing services?
I'm not sure for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Not too sure.
So if somebody wants a copy of this, you said where and how can they get a copy of the State of the County Health Report?
They can get in contact with me. My email is atparker@co.rockingham.nc.us, or you all can call me at 336-342-8258. If you would like to get in contact with Cathy or Ashley, they can get in contact with me as well, and I can get you a report. And if you would also like a Be Healthy map, you could get one of those as well.
That's awesome.
So could a church come by and pick up some of that, and that
Sure
way they can
can.
share amongst their congregation and those
Definitely.
sort of things? Okay, great.
Yes.
That's good to know. I'm glad that, like you said, it's not something that just sits on a shelf. It's actually used.
And they're
utilized.
already working on the next one.
We are.
So, well, thank you, Ayeshan.
You're
It was
welcome.
good information that you shared with us today, and it sounds like if anyone wants to learn more or read about all the great initiatives going on in the community, then they can have access to the report and get informed about all the
That's
great
right.
things going on in our county. So thank you for what
You're
you've done.
welcome.
And we want to just let everybody know that if anybody has any questions about services and supports offered through ADTS, you can always give us a call at 336-349-2343 or visit us on our website, adtsrc.org. You can also visit us on Facebook, where we are keeping things up to date as to all the activities that are going on. And that's all we have time for today. But we hope that you can join us again next month when when our guest is going to focus on talking to your doctor and how you can get prepared for those appointments and the things you need to be thinking about in advance and the questions to ask. I think sometimes we get in there and we just shut down and we just like take the information and leave and get in the car and go, okay, how do I process that? But if we can be a little bit better prepared and walk in there knowing what questions we want to ask, then we're going to be well positioned. So we hope you can join us again next month. And thank you to Ayeshan, and please reach out to us if you'd like some more information. Thank you.